Okay.
The airport, you kiss my feet.
Okay, okay. Not sure whether that's a good part of education, but well, okay. If that makes you happy, maybe I'll do it. Yeah. Okay. So hello, hello. Welcome to the next episode of the Why Not Family Podcast. So today we have on board Mom, Rooney, and myself. Dad is away on a spiritual search of himself in Pak Wan Chai, PKC, in Penang Buddhist Association. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's not an excuse to run away from our Why Not podcast. I think I saw the actual itinerary he posted, so he's actually there, and I confirmed it on Find My iPhone. So what are we going to talk about today?
We've decided to talk about our experience with the public education system.
hmm hmm
And are we going to do a review or commentary on the first and second episode?
Yeah, we should. We should. Today, we're going to talk about education system and our how all of us are actually local grads and how we're going to talk about it, how we experience it through our family dynamics, right? So before we move on to the third episode, maybe we just have a short uh recap of our first and second episode and actually what do you think about doing those first episode, which was about me moving to the UK from KK and how in fact it that affected our family dynamics and how the different point of people different views from different viewpoints, and the second episode where we talk about a very heavy topic about death and dependence. So maybe you guys want to start off saying anything you want to say.
Um, for me, the second episode in particular, because it's the first one that we had all four family members, and it's um that I thought, especially as I was editing the episode, I thought it was a really good journal to keep. And yeah, that one I think was really, really meaningful, and it's something that we will benefit a lot as we look back and listen to it again. But with the first episode is obviously very meaningful as well. But with both the episode, I think for me, of the four of us, for me, I did struggle a little bit to decide whether I wanted it out there. I mean, it's out there in the public, but I struggle a bit to um decide whether I want to share it with my friends and all that and share it on social media because uh, I guess I was still struggling. Like, it felt to me like quite a vulnerable. Both episodes, there's a lot of vulnerability that's involved and that's exposed. So I took a while to decide on that, but I think it's after the second episode that I decided that there is regardless whether there's anybody listening to it, it I saw the value in it, and I thought since we've already done it, it's I hope for people who's listening to it, they'll benefit from it. And it's definitely benefiting for us for sure as a family.
Yeah, I like the point you said about vulnerability, right? We should talk about it sometime as well. I think vulnerability is it's not as bad as I used to think it to be. Granted, we sometimes we have a facade they're gonna put on, right, to the outside world, that some people feel like, oh, this is we have a good family, we don't want to show all this dirty, don't wash the dirty linen or something in the public, that kind of thing. I feel like vulnerability is key to being human. And I think that sometimes that's what we need sometimes to avoid conflicts and everything, to have a more harmonious place of life and everything everywhere, because everyone tries to put up this facade like I'm this complete, I'm this very, you know, more wholesome individual, but actually we all have our vulnerabilities, and I think that's a good point to start, where we tell the world that actually, yeah, we are vulnerable. Every one of us is vulnerable to certain things in our life, and I think that's a good point about vulnerability. I like that about it, and that's why I'm the one. I wasn't shy to share it and everything. And I felt that, yeah, that's what we want to have discussions about. What my takeaway was that I think, yeah, we are not aiming to have like a huge public, social influencer, the kind of audience, but to those around us. So I really thank all the audience who actually listened to it. And actually, I think we have very quality audience, right? That I have to stress that. I can't stress that enough, because actually after the first and second episode, we have a lot of close family and friends, and even some friends and family who we thought weren't that close, as in like we don't often talk to. in university or in high school or not, they actually wrote to me, right? At least, and they gave me a very lengthy uh message, and they could relate to it, and what they felt was relatable, and also what they actually felt as well, right? Basically, and they gave me their own point of view, and I think I really appreciated everyone who actually listened in, whether you wrote in or didn't write in, doesn't matter as long as you have good takeaway from it, and it prompts some thought into it, some thinking about it and reflection. Really appreciate our audience. I think that's our intention of our podcast anyway, right? To reconnect with people and their relatives from very from overseas that actually wrote so I really appreciate that. That was
Mm.
good. That was a very good interaction I had with them and
Yeah,
us,
that's true. And
Yeah.
then I think because it's not like a real like Instagram 30 seconds reel. It's not something that it's a clickbait or whatnot. It's something that you actually need to sit through for 1 hour or 2 hours to actually listen to it. And then when whoever will choose to do that, and then they come back and then we have discussions about it, that's I've discussions about it with friends that I didn't think I would have those discussions with. And about the vulnerabilities, I think I eventually found a little bit more strength, or a little bit, it was somehow, not to sound all cliche, but it was somehow a bit empowering to be able to sort of put yourself out there and not to be too concerned of how other people might view you as vulnerable or weak or whatnot. My big concern when it got out there was more so because I guess how my profession is, everyone needs to be strong and confident, and it's sort of it's there's a pressure of sort of presenting yourself in a certain way. So when I shared on social media, my concern was more of, oh, what if my colleagues see this, or what if my opponents in court have heard me on this podcast? And yeah, but those are really two separate matters, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's that.
Mom, are you meditating? Are you sleeping and meditating? Are you having gastric pain still?
Yes. Anyway, my friends and my friends or my family members are, I think, common with you all. So I didn't share also because I think those interested would have listened to your share, you and me sharing. The others, I think they cannot tahan so long, 1 hour plus, 2 hours, 1 hour plus listening. So I don't bother to share. But I really feel the 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 inconveniences of living in different time zone, because
Mm.
we stop for 1 month, and then we can't really find a perfect time for three of us or four of us. So I started to feel the impact of different time zone. But then again, it's good that we have one CCTV. Can I say that? CCTV in the house,
Yeah,
so
yeah, why
that
not?
you are always stalking on us. In a bad way, you are stalking on us. Good way, you are keeping an eye on me. Since most of the time I'm alone in the house, just hope that nothing serious or unexpected happened to me. But at least if anything happens to me, you are still, because you're always on the CCTV. So it's good that that yeah, that's all I want to say. The different time zone thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think I must have done a disclaimer because people listening might think like I'm a very overly attached son. I am, and a brother, but I'm not a stalker. I don't stalk. I mean, I just miss my family, and it really helps. This technology. It makes me feel like I'm like in Malaysia at home. Because I can just look at when I'm at work sometimes. Usually, I'm not free at all. I'm working night shift, middle of the night, 2, 3 a.m. In between seeing patients, and I'm just relaxing for a bit, taking a relaxing, I mean, a 5-minute break. I just turn on the CCTV and I can see what dad is having for lunch. And I mean, not see exactly what the dish is, but I can see what Amma is doing. I can see what you're doing in KL. And that really helps me feel, some warmth, and it just makes me feel close to home. Lah. And that breaks through the time difference sometimes. And yeah, I like that, the CCTV part. Yeah.
Brings us to our third episode on education, and I think we've spoke about the topic of education being a series, and today we're just focusing on more so on our personal experience with the public education system and how that changes our or impacted our dynamic as a family as well. So yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Kobe start.
Yeah. So I think, how do you want to do it? Do you want to go through from primary, secondary to pre-U, uni, that sort of timeline fashion, or do you want to do it like a mom first and us?
We can do it sort of chronologically, but I think just as a matter of context, just a brief intro. I think mom and dad also came from public school system in Penang, from primary school to secondary, and then both mom and dad went to university in USM, University of Science Malaysia in Penang. And then for both of us, similarly, we went to a public Chinese school, public primary Chinese school at SJKC in Penang. And then we both subsequently went to SMJK schools, Kebangsaan schools, but they were also Chinese medium schools in Penang. You were in Chongling. I was in Binghua for a bit, and then spent my most years in high school in Porte, and then both of us then went on to matriculation and UM. So I think I thought just to give that context first.
Yeah.
But
And all products are fully made in Malaysia. So I think we missed out one part. Preschool. I went to De Monte and 5 years old. 4 years old, De Monte, a nursery or kindergarten. I don't know what's the difference. I never know what's the difference. And then I went to, actually, maybe that's why I'm so Buddhist. Not really. I went to 1 year of Buddhist preschool. Think about it, in Tan Siang, 1 year, I think 6 years old before I went to primary school at 7 years old. So yeah, I went to preschool as well, a private one, near our house. I remember Akong walking us there. Or is it Akong or Ama? Yeah, walking us there, or was it a van? I can't remember.
You mean De Monte?
Yeah, yeah, and Kiddie Land too. All within our Taman, our residential area.
Did you
Yeah,
go to
private.
Bluebells as well?
No, I think you went to Bluebells,
I
wasn't it?
went to Bluebells for a short period of time.
Is it Bluebells or
Because
Blue Balls?
Kiddie Land was moved to Bluebells. But
Blue
you went to
Balls.
short house, Bluebells. But then they were so far away, so we stopped sending you all there. But Tan Siang, who sent you to Tan Siang 1 year? Transportation how?
Tan Siang, I took a van, a small bus.
Go.
I think me too, me too.
But I
Yeah,
remember
so
going to that, I don't know whether it's De Monte, the one at the end of the road from Lavinia, and then there's a
yeah,
corner.
De Monte.
That's De Monte.
De
Yeah.
Monte,
I
yeah.
vividly,
Yeah.
I don't have any memory from kindergarten, sorry, we're going off track a bit, but I vividly remember only one experience from De Monte. Amma walked me there. I think she held my
Oh,
hand.
Ama.
She walked me to De Monte, first day of school. I kept crying when she is about to leave. Like crying. And then she's like, no, I'm just going to the toilet. And then I still remember the toilet, it's not even like, anyway, she went to the toilet, and then I kept waiting and waiting. Somehow I think I didn't catch her leaving, so she left. And when I went to the toilet, I realized that she was not there anymore. I think I just cried my eyeballs out for the rest of the day.
Was it? Uh-huh. And did you ever, when you were a kid, maybe you wondered, how come my Ama pee so long, 6 hours,
No, I realized subsequently that she was just trying to get me to stop
abandoning you.
crying. Yeah. And then
Oh,
abandoning me. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. So I wondered, actually, do you remember, Mom? I mean, it's a private, all preschools in Malaysia are, I don't know, are they all private? I think they're government ones, I'm not sure.
No, I don't remember because I was working then. Just for the record, you're all very lucky. And in my family, all my siblings before me, they went to, they had a chance to go to kindergarten. By the time my turn, cannot afford it, so Gong Gong stopped from sending me and the youngest to kindergarten. So there's the biggest, I really is not to say hated him, but I really cannot understand at that time because kindergarten was so fun at that time, 儿童节 lah, and I didn't have the chance to go. So that is the one sport kind of a incident in my childhood lah. But anyway, I don't remember. That's why I want to ask you all, how was your kindergarten life? Because both of us, Dad and I, were working, so and Akong Ama didn't really feedback to us. So I don't have that part of your childhood. I cannot remember. But anyway, you all, as far as education system is concerned, you're all very lucky. I don't know how much you all learn from that. That is the only private school supposed to be the private school that you all went to.
Well, honestly, I don't know. I'm grateful for y'all spending the money, but honestly, I can't remember anything from preschool. I really can't remember. But I
Yeah.
only remember one thing for Rooney, for Tan Xiang. She went to Tan Xiang one year. There was a big chubby boy who bullied her. I remember.
Mm. Yeah, I don't even know how I was bullied, but I remember coming home and telling, I don't know, mom and dad, but I don't know how it ended up that Tuai, our aunt, and she's always very protective of us and
Yeah.
bring us out and all that. So when she heard the story, she felt it was very unjustified, and then she went to school and I think I don't know if she yelled at the kid or she yelled at the teacher, and she was just very, very angry on my behalf. I'm very grateful, but there was also a time that I was a bit concerned that I don't know whether other kids were there after felt scared to spend time with me. That's my only recollection of that incident.
Hey, look, Toy, if you're listening to this, we really, I think Toy played a very big role in our formative years in preschool and primary school. Yeah.
Yes,
She always
yes.
fetched us to tuition, and she was always very protective of us. She always brought us to Bukit Jambu shopping complex, always ensured we had our fun. She always paid for, I remember, the 1 ringgit child rides, the
Yeah,
small trains and the horses and what. She always ensured that we always had a time to go on those machines, and she always had a good time with us. Yeah, thanks, Dai. Yeah.
yeah, very appreciative. I think as we
And
grow up,
mhm,
sometimes we forgot all those times that we had
yeah.
as a kid. With Toy, I was jumping on her bed singing to Backstreet Boys and all that. Yeah, we had a just a very
And
integral
and
part of our childhood.
and Toy has always been very righteous and fought for justice. So I'm pretty sure she gave the kid a good screwing off and telling off, don't bully my niece. So yeah.
So generally, it was a memorable childhood lah, preschool lah.
I guess, but those years I can't remember what we did there, but I remembered the uniform and all, and yeah, yeah. So you didn't have that.
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't
What
know.
about
I
that?
don't
What about that?
don't know. I don't. I think he is even worse. So
Oh, yes.
so that was that part. So you all went to preschool from 4 years old onwards. 6 years
I think
old went
so.
to Tanxiang.
4 or 5 years, yeah, 6 years, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
that was the
Shireen
most.
went for 1 year de Monte only. So Kidiland was quite a prestigious kind of kindergarten preschool, I think.
Hmm, hmm. I remember Kitty
Mm,
Land everyone was speaking English, sure, oh, yeah,
mm,
probably helped me adapt better in UK. That kind of school.
mm. Because the principal was a wife of Intel MD, she had she set quite a high standard. So it was a pity that they moved to Island Glades later.
Oh, so it was like a more corporate Intel run kind of
Yeah, yeah.
nursery. Okay, cool. Okay. So that was preschool. Yeah.
Mhm.
So some of us got it, some of us didn't. But I think mom and dad's generation, I don't think it was a luxury that was given to everyone. Like mom said,
That
she
did
had to
when
go.
did that got to go to kindergarten.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think so.
Okay. It'd be good to have him talk about this in the next episode, but he's not here today. Because he probably went to his own version of Tan Xiang now at his age. Okay, that was preschool. Is it vital? I don't know. But I would like to get some of my friends who are in Singapore or some in Malaysia who are parents now, who are actually their kids are probably going to go to nursery and kindergarten now, or are they there? I'm not sure. It will be good to talk to them in a future episode.
I'm very interested to know as well, because I have some colleagues as well with children at this age, and I'm hearing that obviously the cost of sending your child to preschool is a lot higher now, and the competition seems to be very great. I think with quality of life increasing across the board, then of course there's always the idea that wanting your kids to have the best and all that. So what costs is very high, and then there's all these other things that they felt the need, or just people in general, because there's all these things out there, then you feel the need to send your kids to different sort of activities, and then there are schools that are run a little bit like how mom brought us up, or let them explore nature, teach them survival skills as well. And then there are schools, even at preschool stage, where they teach them how to use technology and all that. So I think there's just it's a very different world from when we went to preschool. So I'm very interested to learn how that's like.
So my time, our generation and generations before us, is not a must to go to kindergarten or preschool. But now the trend has changed. Even the government is setting up preschool for poorer families, I think. And preschool is, I don't know, is mandatory or it's just encouraged. That's the difference. So, yeah. In fact, I saw some news the other day that the government is setting up all this free preschool all over the countries really. So it's like there is a necessity to send your children to preschool now.
So for those of you who are listening into this, if you actually know what's going on latest or your experience with preschool, you can always write to us, any of us, or just leave us a comment or something, and it'd be good to have that kind of conversation going about preschool. Yeah. Are we gonna wrap up on preschool? Yeah. So by the way, before I move on, Mom, do you remember how much you paid for a preschool?
I think it's 100 plus, or like 30 years ago, 100 plus per month.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's not cheap, considered not cheap for average family, that time.
Yeah.
So
True.
I think some still don't send, some poor families still don't send their children to preschool our time. It's still not necessary.
Yeah, because I want to talk to a few of my friends in Singapore, especially, because from what I hear from my friends, they say that actually now even 3 years old, 2 years old, they even send their kids to preschool, to learn maths, and then some say that the kids are not good in maths, so people are worried, their parents are worried, shit, my kids are not good at maths, are they going to be a failure in life, that kind of thing, so they send for tuition classes, for enhancement classes for maths at that kind of age, I'm pretty sure at our preschool we didn't learn this kind of stuff. We are putting in shapes into learning to recognize shapes. We were learning maybe some basic ABCs, that kind of stuff, I think, probably. And yeah, so I think that's changed a lot. It's a more competitive world, and it would be good to have their input. Yeah,
And
about
that sense
preschools.
of missing out, the sense of competition is so strong at that age. But I think during our age, perhaps our parents are more concerned that, okay, I need to focus on work, bringing the money in and all that. But I think at this age, they're already, the fear that your children won't be competitive in the future is already there.
Yeah, we were playing with soil, playing in the taman backyard in our house, and
I think that is the problem with the preschool system, the overall preschool education system. I would prefer to send my children to schools like Tan Xiang, Ji, where they teach gratitude, teach all the life values, rather than pushing for academic knowledge. Yeah,
No,
and it's cheaper. Tan Siang is much cheaper. I remember Tan Siang is like half the price of the Monte.
so Tan Siang is a Buddhist sort of a Buddhist Sunday sort of Buddhist school. Yeah, for those who don't know, Tan Siang is in Penang, pretty big Buddhist temple and school and yeah, organization.
Yeah, I
So
remember the gratitude day where the children has to wash the parents' feet. No, I don't think it's wash the parents.
I don't think so. I don't think
Or
that.
do something for the parents, or give a cake to the parents or something and gratitude.
I think so. Mom, do you have like some pent up need that you actually never said to us that you want us to wash your feet? Because we never did, you know. Is there something you are unhappy about that you want us to wash your feet? We can still do it now, you know.
Yeah, when you're back, the first thing you have to do is to wash my feet in June.
Okay. Okay.
The airport, you kiss my feet.
Okay. Not sure whether that's a good part of education, but well, okay. If that makes you happy, maybe I'll do it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I think I think that's a whole big topic itself because well, you talk about putting a child through religious education, you know. I know values, but you know, can that be done by parents in formal education at home, or do you want to send a kid to a religious education sort of so early in their formative years in preschool, you know? I don't know about that. So that is up for debate, I think. Yeah.
What's wrong? What's wrong with sending? You don't have to instill the religious part, but you just have to instill the filial piety part, the gratitude part, which they teach. But in normal kindergarten or preschool, I don't think they emphasize on that. But though these are the values they emphasize on religious school.
I think that should be that's a quite contentious issues because I'm sure in Malaysia, not only in Buddhist families' perspective, I know for a fact that there are past set up kindergartens, there is Muslim preschools and everything. So that is very contentious issue sometimes when we talk and we touch into those kind of territory. But at least from a Buddhist family's perspective, I feel like all these values need not be
Not
through a
exclusive to a
religious
particular
school. Correct. It
religion.
can be done through any school. In fact, if there's a national-wide integration school and teach unity and respecting other races, everything early on in preschool, that would be good instead of segregating our kids into religion since young. Muslims kids go to Muslim school, and then Buddhist kids go to Buddhist religious school. I personally don't feel that that's a good way for national integration in a whole holistic approach. I think all these values can be taught through a secular way. You know, it doesn't have to be tied to religion. Religion, I feel, can be taught at home by the parents, or they can send their own child in a private additional time to extra tuition about religion or whatever. I feel like that as a Buddhist at least. But secular values need to be universal to all kids regardless. That would help with our country nation building. That I think is important.
That's the
And brought
first problem with our education system,
Yeah.
already.
True.
The
Yeah,
first
because
very important
Yeah.
problem. But then the problem is certain religions, the values, and I don't know,
be
maybe
different.
certain religions' values are different. Yeah.
So I think there needs.
I think as I was growing up, I appreciate the fact that I was taught, at least mom exposed me to different religion. I don't think there should be a predetermined religion that's, if at all you're exposing a child to religion, I feel like it shouldn't be a specific one. If you're teaching one, teach all. If the idea is to encourage them to, or the idea is to let them learn about unity and you're teaching this person to be a better human being first, not so much on different religion, then that child needs to be taught different religion if you want them to be people who grew up to be understanding, to be tolerant to different people.
But is our government matured enough to think like that?
And then
Yeah, I mean there are political considerations and those kind of stuff involved. It's a bit complicated, but I think when we're talking about preschool, I wonder if it's a bit, you know, all this
fair
unity. Is
enough.
it too
Yeah.
early to bring it in preschool, or maybe we should start it there? You know what I'm saying? And then primary school and secondary school, we should carry it forward and develop it further. you know. But anyhow, so maybe I think there's now still talking about preschool, and but I think it's an important starting point to start off our discussion about this, don't you think? Then and yeah, so should we wrap it up on preschool or move on to primary and secondary?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rune, you want to start, or Mom, you want to start with how was your experience, you and Dad's generation, your generation going to primary school? Was it a SJKC Chinese school as well? I think Dad, they never went to a Chinese school, so yeah, we know about that. What about you? I think you went to Union, is it?
Yes, I think the consideration for parents those days are the nearest school distance, the nearest primary school.
Hmm.
They don't have much choice. So we go to the nearest school we can get. So luckily for me, the nearest school to my house is Union Primary School, which is a good school. So yeah. But now we are talking about your primary school. So we sent two of you to the nearest primary school, which again we are very lucky. Guanghua, which is near to our house, walking distance. So Ama and Gong Gong also, Ama and Akong can bring you all to school walking every morning, right? And no I think you took a neighbor chauffeured you to school, right, Coco?
Yes, yes. No, initially it was afternoon school initially. Yeah, I hated it. I hated afternoon school.
Why?
Then, because I hated the fact that you had to go in the, morning, you can't enjoy yourself. Even since I was young, I hated the fact that I had to do something that I despised, going to school later in the afternoon rather than early in the itinerary, so that I can have a free time after school. So I think standard 1 to 3 in Guanghua, yeah, was afternoon school. I think 1:30 or something to 6:30. Yeah, I hated those times, but Akong would bring me, Akong would bring me to school, walk me to school in the heat. Take about maybe 45 minutes, 30 minutes from our house, walk there. And then I remember vividly
It's much hotter than that.
that,
15
yeah,
minutes.
it's very hot. Yeah, 15 minutes, okay.
Or maybe if
So
Akong,
then,
yeah, Akong.
yeah. So not only that, 3:30 during recess, Akong would also walk again from house to bring me my lunch, remember? In a container sometimes.
Oh,
And
I
he
don't
would
know
meet
that.
me for recess. Yeah, he meet me for recess. Then not all kids got that. And initially I was very paiseh. I was very shy that my grandfather pampered me. I was very shy. I was a bit paiseh. But in the end, I look back, actually it was such a luxury. My Akong actually waited for me. He sat, I can still remember the old canteen. He sat there in the corner and he waited for me and give me my lunch and everything.
Oh, then does he sit there and have lunch with you until you finish?
I can't remember. No, I don't think so. I think for a while then he'll leave. Maybe he did. I can't remember. But I remember he would wait for me there with my lunch box and all. I was very pampered, you know.
Shireen don't have
I don't recall
Yeah.
that. I recall being a bit jealous of my friends who had that the canteen has an ordering system where the parents pay the canteen about a certain amount of
Yeah.
money a month, and then
Yeah.
the names will be on every day will be different dish like our kway teow teng or Hokkien Mee, and then their names will be on the noodles on the plate. But now
Oh, yeah,
obviously when you
yeah.
think back, I would so much rather have that experience of having Akong send your meal to school and you get to see Akong at recess.
But I think I sort of envied the kids, I wanted to have joined in, peer pressure, have the kids all the
Yeah,
meals.
I
I
did too.
remember there's a card.
Yes, there's a
Then
card. Your Chinese name
but
will be
looking
written on
back,
it.
I don't know whether mom and dad was aware of that or they didn't want us to have unhealthy food or was it expensive or something? I don't know.
I think Rynn, I remember because we ordered the prepared meals for her from the canteen.
Eventually, yes. I think it as for starters or initially you all gave me some allowance like RM1 or 150 or something, which is enough for you to order a proper meal. But then subsequently I think either I pestered you all to get that for me or it just makes more sense or it's just cheaper when you do the monthly package of sorts. But I don't recall Akong coming over lah.
I think you had problem. I think you had problem with the canteen people, girl.
Oh, really?
Either I don't know, she was a big problem in the primary school. She fight with the students to queue out or something like that. That's why we sort of ordered the set for her. I don't know. And
Oh,
you, I remember you had a problem also. You all have this what computer class, ah? Then you all have to move to a room with it. Then your bottle, you put some coloring in somebody's
oh
bottle
my
to drink.
God. I'm still guilty of that until now. I also worried that Rooney will be mentally challenged because of that, of my doing.
Maybe, maybe I am already mentally challenged. Yes,
Maybe.
I recall
Oh my
that
God.
because when he went for computer class, it was next to the canteen. And then his bags were then left outside the computer class. But I was so proud. I was saying my friend, my brother studies here. He's here. He's in this class. This is my brother's bag. And then I don't know whether it's because to show that this is actually my brother. I took his water bottle and
Oh my
drank from
God.
it. Then I later realized that he put some lead or something into the water.
Who put?
I did. Because I did. I took a color pencil. I shaved all the color pencil, different colors into the water. And then maybe to you, it looked like some carbonated drink. Oh, I got color. So you go and
Why did you
drink
do
it.
that?
Because I just felt it was fun, want to color up the drink. And Rooney actually went to drink it when I was in the computer class. All the bags are outside, so she went to drink the water. I actually felt so bad for many years until now, whether I caused her brain to be a bit damaged or lead poisoning.
Oh,
That's
that
why,
was Shireen was in afternoon school. You
I
were in
correct.
was,
I was
morning
in
school.
morning.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that is the incident where you asked me to cane you.
Oh,
I
is
think
it?
that's the incident. Yeah, you
No,
get the brotan and you asked me to cane you because
no.
you
I don't think
realized your
so.
mistake. That
I
that
don't
was
think
the
so.
incident. I really
I don't think
remember
so.
that incident where you did something bad and you wanted me
No,
to
not that.
cane
Not
you.
that.
I
Not
think
that.
that
Not
was
that.
the microscope thing. I don't know.
What microscope? No, I I caused a pencil to go into your face. You still have a mark there on the
No,
a
no.
pencil left in your face.
No, that one is this punishment. This one is my punishment. I was very angry at something.
Wait,
Another
okay.
Can't
thing.
remember.
Before
Huh?
that, I want to request to our listeners, because I can remember if I have a few friends who send their kids to Tan Siang for preschool also. If they can remember what they did for the parents during gratitude day, please let me know. I remember it's washing the legs. Okay, thank you.
What is with mom's I don't know fixation on washing feet? Okay, noted. But I don't think it's washing feet. I think it's something about giving a gift. I think there's a ceremony in the hall where you write some card or some gift that you give to your parents. And I think something like that. But I don't remember anything about washing feet. Okay, but anyhow, if anyone remembers it, do let us know. So that was preschool. So now we're going back to primary school, right? So yeah, I know that this. I mean, we're going to talk about education, but I think this is all part of our memories, which we want to record down. Also, I think it's important talking about this. It's nice to recall this. And yeah, there was computer class, and you drank lead. So there was lead poisoning that I in unconscious. I mean, didn't unintentionally did to Rooney. Sorry about that. So if you're at work
What?
and you're feeling that your thoughts don't come as smoothly, you can know that it's not your fault, it's me. It's the lag in
No
your
wonder
brain.
she got no wonder she got so many health problem. All your problem. You caused one, so you better go and find solution for her.
Oh my God. Fortunately, I'm in the medical line, so any issues you need. But unfortunately, I think it's a bit late to treat your lead poisoning now. I think I
I
can't
think
remember how
there's
to treat it.
2 lead poisoning. One orally and one this one.
Oh yeah, you still have it on your face, right?
I still have very deep.
I actually
You can hardly see it.
I accidentally had a fight with Rooney, then the pencil just
No,
got no more already.
no, there is just a very light one, but I don't think we were fighting, were we?
Accidentally, I don't know how that pencil ended into your face. I don't know why it's still there. Why didn't we get someone to take it out? I was
Daddy took it
actually,
out.
but why is there a stain there?
I don't know.
Ask yourself.
Because I was very worried. Actually, I was genuinely worried that the stain would cause you to be so disfigured that no one would want you ever. I actually had that guilt with me. So yeah, I don't know what is
Too
with
many
me and lad.
exaggerated guilt. Yeah.
It's don't
No,
know
but
what's with me and lab.
okay,
Plumbum.
this one we can cut it off, but since we're on this topic and for record purposes, I think what happened was I recall mom and dad was out having dinner. They
Dinner.
had a
Yes,
function to
yes.
attend to. And Coco was working downstairs in the living room on the opium table.
Hmm.
And I was too free. I keep trying to go out and play with him or whatever. Then at one point I knew he was working, he was writing with his that
Mechanical pencil.
mechanical pencil. And then I was like, I think I asked him to turn around or just pay attention to me. Then he turned over. I think that's when he was holding his pencil, and that's how it's in here. I don't know if my
It's
recollection
just a
is
few
similar to yours.
inches to your eyes, you know. Oh my, you
Yeah,
really had to be grateful. A few inches away from your eyes, I could have blinded you, you know. Oh my God.
yeah, but I don't recall it was a fight. It was an
It's not, huh?
accident. Yeah, it wasn't a fight. And then I remember being very scared that mom and dad would find out, and then they'll punish you for it. So I kept quiet. I didn't want to say anything. And then dad came back, and at that time,
And I
mom and
found
dad.
out. I saw it.
No, I think
I
dad
asked
found
you.
out.
Found out. Then I told that. Then that interrogated you, and then you still don't want to tell us what happened. Then we suspect something wrong.
Then did I not come clean?
I'm sure
I
you
can't
did
remember.
eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
but I recall I thought dad found out because dad brushed my teeth that night.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
okay. I may have recalled it wrongly, and
I
then
felt
I
very bad.
remember dad. We were in the kitchen, and then dad he brought out the orange piring that we used to put sambal, and then he used something to try and pluck it and then put it on the piring. That's what I recall.
Man, that was traumatic.
it should be recorded for life.
Yeah, yeah. Physically for Rooney, but emotionally for me.
Nothing happened. Well, after that, I'm okay. What?
No, you said
Luckily,
you're a bit slow intellectually, you said.
I am. But at
I
least now
know.
I have something to fall back to.
Oh my God.
at
It's
least
okay lah.
luckily you like I now. If not, then you feel worse.
I
I'm more
think.
worried about the mental effects than the physical effect now. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We
Mm.
can come back to.
Yeah, education, right? What has this got to do with
Yeah.
education? It has taught you about responsibility. It has taught me about yeah.
That
So
don't
that
simply play with mechanical pencil.
so I think those were our primary school childhood memories. But coming back to the education part of it, um, so do you actually so what were your memories about primary school? Because we both went to the same Chinese school. It was for me it was a very homogeneous vernacular school, mostly Chinese. I remember a few Malay friends, um, and no Indian, I think, in that year. Maybe 1 year, 1 or 2 Indian. So, I can't remember actually. So it was all a very strict school, and I remembered talking about Akong bringing me food. The Chinese teacher actually forced me to sit down and not let me go, let me off, at 6:30 because he said, how come your parents, your grandparents walk so far, bring you your food? I think it was some biscuits or what, and you never finish it. Oh, I don't know whether it was
Oh,
abusive. This Chinese lady teacher, she forced me to eat and finish the food before I could go home. It was a bit abusive.
Wow, that was a good teacher.
That was a good teacher.
That
It was
was a real
very
teacher.
traditional Chinese teacher.
You remember
Yeah.
her name?
I remember Chen Jingchun.
Chen
Sorry,
Lao.
I don't know whether we can but I had to thank her, I had to thank her. She was a very traditional. She inculcated not to waste food. She asked me to appreciate what my grandparents and my parents were preparing me food and everything. Those were actually, not in the syllabus, that kind of thing. That was a hard love, that was hard teaching, and very Confucian, maybe very Asian, Chinese, at least Asian values, maybe. Yeah,
wow.
that I remember vividly. Those are the things that stay with me. Yeah.
So morning school, Mrs. Tan fetch you to school.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you had a neighbor down the road, she had a daughter, and we don't talk. We don't talk ever. And but the mom was very nice. She offered to fetch because she saw, oh yeah, she saw that Akong was so she empathized with Akong. She was so sympathized with Akong having to walk in under the sun with an umbrella and walk me to school. That's how she actually started fetching me to
Offered to.
school. Yes,
Wow.
such a kind lady.
Oh.
Yeah. She actually offered to do that. That's why Akong stopped having to walk me to school.
I
So
see. And it's not even like it's on the way for her. Her
it,
house is probably like 100 meters down the street from
but
us and it's nearer to the school.
correct, but I
But
mean it was
she,
just a one road lah, so same street
yeah,
lah. So it was much of a yeah, but we appreciated that lah. Yeah, and
yeah.
we just she refused to take the money and everything, the petrol, but we insisted we had to give her every month, but she never wanted it. So such a nice lady, Mrs. Tan. Thanks. Yeah,
Oh.
I'd love to go and thank her actually one day if she's
Uh,
yeah, I should go and visit her
and
when I come
then,
back actually.
and some more, you play a prank on her?
I didn't play a prank. This is again steering away from education, but it's a formative year. I think I was so happy. I remember I was standard 5, I think. It was after the after school classes, extra classes for UPSR, I remember, or standard 6. Then I was standard 4, I can't remember, maybe not. So it was afternoon class. I was very happy to go back home. So I ran at the back gate. I saw, I don't usually do this, but when I saw her coming in her Kalisa to fetch her, and her daughter was down there at the stairs, I was above the stairs. So I saw her coming. I was so happy. I frantically waved at her. Bye bye, hello. She actually thought that I said no need to fetch me. So she picked her daughter and then she just drove away. Then I ran down the stairs, frantically running after her car, and she just left. And I was like, oh my god, why did she leave? But I didn't know that I learned an important lesson of non-verbal communication is important.
Then how
And
did you go home that day?
I actually had to
Then you asked the
borrow.
teacher.
I borrowed some money. I think I went to call the public phone, or is it I went to the teacher or something to help call. You all right? I don't know how in the end I went home. I can't remember, but I had to call someone. I went to the teacher, borrowed some money, and called in the public payphone, 30 cents. I remember to call back home, 20 cents to tell you all that I had to explain to you all that I don't know why Mrs. Tan actually he ran away without
I
fetching me.
think Akong went to fetch you home, walk there again.
Oh yeah, that was a
Then girl, how did girl go to school?
I can't
B31,
remember.
B31 orange bus.
Yes,
Oh,
that's Tao Sang Pan, that's morning school, that's about from standards 5 to the 6. But I can't remember whether when I
No,
was in
I
the
remember.
afternoons.
Afternoon school, it was a van. There was a van. There
Oh,
was a
oh,
oh,
van.
the fat lady. The fat lady.
No offense against fat people, but yeah, I think so. I think there was a lady who has a slightly higher body mass index. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
girl also
and then
always fight in the bus
no,
Yes.
I didn't fight in the
with the
bus.
boys.
No,
Brian
I fought
Low. Brian Low.
Brian was morning school already. No, but when I was in the afternoon school, when I was doing I was taking the van, I think Tua Yi scolded the van lady because 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 I think she'll say, why is it that she always have to sit at the very end, and why is it that
Oh,
she's
yeah.
always the last one to get dropped off or something? So Tua Yi thought that was a bit unfair. So there were some issues there as well. But okay, I didn't fight with the boys in the van. I fought with some boys when I was in school. Because I think I was in primary 1 or primary 2 or primary 3. I have just had a new pair of glasses done, and first time having a pair of glasses. And I left the glasses on the table, and then one of the boys, I remember vividly, there's 3 tables and 3 chairs that's connected to each other. I left my glasses on the table, and one of the boys accidentally pushed the glasses onto the floor. And I was so angry, I said, you are wrong, apologize to me. And I was a girl and he was a guy. And then at that time, there's always that expectation that girls are supposed to be feminine, don't cause troubles and all that. I was like, no, you're in the wrong, you apologize. And he refused to apologize. Then I pushed him down. I sort of pushed him and then he fell onto the onto the chairs. Then after that, and that boy happens to be a son of Anne's friend. And then the words that went out was, "Oh, she's very violent. She hit the boy," or something like that, lah.
Well, it
But
sounded quite violent. Yeah.
I just wish. Okay, so that was, I think,
And you fight with the boys in the bus also. Then you defended Brian Low also. I think one time I remember you said somebody bullied Brian Low and you defended him. No,
I don't
something
know
like
if
that.
I actually defended him. I saw people bullying him because he was, so Brian's a close friend of ours. Again, it's something you can cut it off if it's not, if you
No,
get
it's not going to be
consent
cut
to.
off. These are the interesting parts. How
But we need
bullying
to
Yeah,
starts in school.
we need
How
to
bullying
consent.
starts in school.
Yeah, and I'll just give a context. So I'm saying whether we need consent because I need to reveal certain parts about him. So Brian's a very close friend of ours, and he's known to often get bullied amongst his schoolmates and also people in the Taman because he grew up with ADHD. So he gets angry and he cries and emotional very, very easily. And it's not his fault. It's just that's his makeup and that's a symptom of his ADHD condition. So that attracted a lot of children to then pick on him, constantly bullying him to trigger him to get angry and cry and all that. So I remember an incident as the bus girl was driving towards Lavinia and then he was about to get off the bus. People keep opening his zips. He has a school bag that had a lot of zips. Then whenever he's not looking, people keep opening his zips. And when he turned over, then he realized, and then he gets angry, and that triggered the kids to even do it even more to anger him. Yeah, that was a bit difficult to watch. I remember feeling very, very bad when I saw that happen. I don't think I did anything at all in that incident, but I remember feeling very, very bad that he had to go through that because I know that as his friend, or because you and his mom know each other, we know that that was the condition that he had. But I guess the other kids, they were not taught or not told this is not something you should do to someone else. So yeah.
I think kids are very mean, when they are young. And it also comes from, of course, I mean, eventually, I guess they grow up to be hopefully good adults and, but kids are very mean sometimes. And I don't know whether you can solely blame the parents or is it something that is, kids go through that sort of thing. But I think it has got to do with family values and education. Informal education is very important. I think just because people are different, because he was a bit chubby, he had attention, high ADHD, like you said. So people actually tend to pick on people who they don't see as their own. They see they're a bit different. So kids are different, they get picked on. Because I remember mom also had to defend me when I went to British Council. I was bullied by some other older kids. But because I'm such a nerd, I'm such a small size kid, right? And I was attending classes where they were secondary school students who were way bigger and who were sometimes a bit more delinquent looking and quite, had disciplinary problems. And I was the youngest kid there and I was tiny. So they would tend to use me as wrestling or something. I don't know. Like, I don't remember physically being hurt actually. Maybe I was just being pushed around here and there. But I don't resent them a lot. But I just felt maybe looking back, it was some bullying. And mom actually stood up for me when I was young in British Council because I was the youngest boy there and they were all older and they were going through the same kind of class as me, So I guess intellectually, English standard wise, I was like on par, if not better than them. So maybe that was some kind of issue of dissatisfaction. Maybe bullies do that also to, the dorky, nerdy kid in class. So different sorts of bullying. But it definitely wasn't as bad as what Brian had to go through, which was
Yeah.
constant through years and all.
Yeah, and I think it was from what my observation, some of the kids do it also to gain validations from the other friends.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to, sorry,
Yeah, continue.
I think there's a adult responsibility in that as well to play. For me, I think there are two sort of groups of people who can or have the opportunity to play a part to try and prevent that as much as possible. Perhaps not in every incident. One, of course, teachers when they see it in school, if it happens in front of them, I think you have to take action. You have to say something to the kids because you can't let it happen until a few times, until it gets really serious, until you start to intervene. And number two is something I learned from mom growing up, is that I think what I thought was most unique about mom's parenting was especially after mom quit her job and became a homemaker, mom had at least a lot more time on her hands. And what she does is she always try and ask questions, how was our day, and then encourage us to share as much as possible about our days in school and all that, what happened. And a lot of times I'm always very puzzled, like, why is this adult listening to me sharing about my day and all these very petty things that happen in school? I'll say, oh, this person said this, and then the teacher said that. And a lot of times I would share, but I still always struggle as to why mom is listening to me. But that I think would help a lot in the sense that I later realized that she was constantly observing me and how I deal with situation, and also how I perceive other situations are being dealt with by other people. And from there, she sort of observed where my moral compass is, whether my certain values are lacking or not here and then. And it's from all the listening that so I guess what I'm trying to say is one of the ways to avoid bullying is for those kids who perhaps were not taught not to bully others, if the adults that are around them to try and observe them or try and have more interactions with them to see what they're doing, and then you can sort of guide them and tell them, oh, actually this part you perhaps shouldn't have done this. Why is it so? Why is it wrong to do that and all?
I'm still observing, but I should stop observing you because you're an adult now.
No, I don't think it's just because I'm still very capable of making a lot of wrong choices at this age of life as well.
I think that's a very good point that you brought forward, that mom actually listens. Mom listens. So the key word is listens to the kid and actually wants to know from the kid's perspective what was going on at school, what did you learn, what happened, blah, blah. Is that what you, mom, did you use a dummy's guide to parenting, or do you watch some YouTube? I'm not sure there was YouTube at the time. What was going through your mind when you were trying to
Did I
educate
listen
them?
to you? I know I listen a lot to Sherin because Sherin childhood a lot more problems than yours. So I listen a lot to her. Did I listen to you? I forgot already. Because your childhood, I think I was still working until maybe you're standard 6.
I remember
Only
you telling me that when I was younger, I rarely talk. I don't speak much. I'm very quiet boy. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
y'all were worried I was like some, maybe had some social problem. I mean, if I had some issues with communication. So maybe I didn't speak as
Especially your
much.
size, your small size. I remember sending you to Adventist Hospital, ask the hormone
Oh, yeah.
specialist to check what's wrong with you, why you're so small size compared to your friends. And
Yeah.
the doctors actually recommended a hormone therapy, and in the end we finally decided no, we're not going to do that. So
Yeah,
you were being bullied because of your small size. It's true.
yeah, that's true. Even in
But did I
early
listen to you?
secondary,
Do you remember I listened to you?
no, what I remember was actually when I was in primary school, despite my small size, I was actually a very naughty kid. Remember? I was quite naughty in a sense that I was also, I think I had a bit of a ADHD kind of thing also. Not so bad, but subclinical maybe. Because I remember I couldn't sit still. Like a lot of kids, I was always running around. I was crawling. I went to tuition. I was crawling under the chairs in the tuition center. That the tuition center said I was so naughty that I cannot sit still for the entire tuition. Remember Huang Lao Shi in
Yeah,
Big
you
Sin?
hyperactive, right?
Hyperactive. And I also had I had sort of vandalism, remember? I actually stole stuff from the sundry shop. I stole money
When?
from Akong's wallet at home. Yeah, I went to the mini market outside our house, Lor Tao there. I stole stuff. I purposely went and steal stuff until I got caught. And then mom actually, I was primary school, and I also went to vandalize people's neighbors' cars. I would take rocks and go and draw stuff on people's cars, and throw rocks into people's houses. I did a lot of those stuff. I remember when I was in primary school, and mom and dad really punished me severely for it. When I got caught stealing, right? I remember Amma had you know, those kind of special reflexology shoes with those pebbles, those stuff in it that she always wore. It was brown in color. And mom and dad one night caught me, caned me, and then she asked me to face the wall and think about what you've done. And then asked me to kneel on those shoes and don't get off on those shoes. It was very painful until midnight and late night, 2, 3 a.m. For like 5, 6 hours. They made me do that, you know. And they were doing their things in their master bedroom. I remember the blue wall or white wall that time. They asked me to face it, face that wall. So I was like counting how many BG was it on the wall to pass my time, and it was very painful. I remember that. It was very and they taught me never then not to steal, not to do those stuff, and I learned my lesson. I didn't. So those were hard love. That was like, you know, I know nowadays in UK you can never cane or physically discipline your child. If not, the police will come after you. But those days you get away with it because that's the norm, right? That's a Asian uh, teaching that goes through. But did it psychologically harm me and cause me to be a different person today? I don't know. I'm okay lah. I find that I'm not too bad lah. So yeah, that was the primary discipline issues I had when I was growing up. And the other thing about education, I think mom wanted me to, because I hated Mandarin. I hated Mandarin, really. Such a difficult subject. I can never master, you know. Even in primary school, mom would order, this was psychologically traumatic for me, okay? She ordered every single magazine you can order possibly in primary school. Sun and Hua Bao, Da Hong Hua, I still remember all those magazines, all the different sizes of magazine. And every weekend, she would sit me down and force me to read every single article to her. And I just wanted to look at those images, draw stuff and everything. I didn't know what to read it. I hated it so much. That was traumatic.
So now you should thank me, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Also, now that I realize you had more problems than Shireen. You quiet,
did.
you create more problems.
I
But
did.
Shireen's problem is more like more
Fundamental.
ah.
I think no, I had a lot of problems in primary school. Then Rooney was more in secondary school, maybe, because I remember during primary school you were still working. You were working in Sony, you were stressed out with work. You also had some arguments with dad from time to time. Dad was also stressed out working in his job and Seagate or something. And you were very stressed out, and you, because of me, I think, because
Yeah,
it was so
more stressed
difficult to
out.
manage me, you actually quit your job. You took the ultimate sacrifice, you know. You quit your job, you know, and you actually stayed back and tried to be like a full-time mom and, you know, teach us all the informal education.
Yes, every time we come back from work, our mom will complain to us what you did. You took a cane chase after our mom instead of our mom chasing you with the cane. Always complain to us every time we come back. I so headache.
I remember I chased after Amma with a cane. Oh man.
Hey, my phone no battery already, how?
You have to charge it. So yeah, we finish this segment, then we see how it handle, because I think this is an interesting momentum conversation we had. So those was all informal education, don't you think? Like teaching me not to steal, teaching me about, you know, other things, values and all that. Those kind of, you know, Confucian kind of values, East Asian values and all that. Those are all informal education. I think that cannot be escaped from. I think it's very difficult to rely that on pendidikan moral, that kind of nonsense, to leave it to the teacher in a school where she has to teach 30, 40 students in a class of multiple classes, and it's exam-based evaluation. I think it doesn't work. Obviously, it doesn't work. This has
What is
to be on
pendidikan moral in primary school?
Was that
教育
pendidikan
啊，
moral in
道德
primary
教育
school?
啊。
I think God, you know,
道德教育啊。
道德教育. Was it in
How they
primary or
teach?
secondary?
Yeah. No, it's
How they teach?
I recall there's like filial piety and all that. There's always scenarios, and it's always like the solution to a lot of things is always organizing gotong royong activities.
Got exam one UPSR?
Got exams one, but
was it? No,
I
not
feel like
UPSR.
no, you have exams in school, but UPSR won't have that as a subject. But I recall it was a lot of scenario-based questions. If this happened, what is the right thing to do? Or this happened and this is the person how I responded. Is that the right thing to do? And it's always like I guess it's good to have like a scenario-based thing, but it's always a very there's only like one right answer for you to give. There's not a lot of listening or asking the students to explain why is it's wrong, why is it's just this happened, what should you do? That I think is lacking, that analytic skills behind why certain things is wrong, why is this correct, why should you be doing this, why is this value important. That part is, I recall, a bit lacking in what we learn in Pendidikan moral, as well as I don't know whether Kuko your time, I don't know whether it's primary school and secondary school, Pendidikan civic education.
I don't have civic. I think you guys had. I don't have.
I had, yeah. And then
was-
obviously when it came to
What,
secondary school,
Pendidikan?
Pendidikan,
Pendidikan moral plus civics in secondary school.
secondary school, I know there's a Pendidikan moral and civic are two separate subjects. But only Pendidikan moral is the SPM subject. And that one I remember vividly. The extent of what you learn in Pendidikan moral is to memorize 36 moral values.
That's
in primary school.
That's secondary school. And that's your SPM. That's a SPM subject.
So in primary school, what 道德教育 they teach? Just now you said one.
I
道德
can't
教育 lah.
remember. Yeah, I think it's scenario based. There's a right answer. There's a one model answer that everyone has to give that you get a mark. So it's a very, like you said, I think going back to the primary school, I think the secondary school one, we talked about it later.
Probably later.
But I think the primary school one is scenario based, you're right. There's a problem, answer, question, but it's not analytical, right? From the get-go, primary school doesn't teach you to think, right? It's all about what's the right answer. This is the right answer. You should memorize it, and this is the right answer. So it doesn't have a lot of maybe it doesn't have a lot of time constraints or what. It doesn't have like kids coming out with projects or whatever and coming out to explain and talk about what is your experience at home about moral or something, and then what do you learn from it. It wasn't that, those kind of private school, those kind of English Western based kind of stuff that they try to teach you how to express more of yourself. It's not expression, it's didactic. I teach you this is the correct thing to do and you accept it. That's it. But it doesn't teach you why, that kind of stuff. It doesn't probe further why, it's just what to do, right? I think that's essentially one of the big problems, I think, in the primary school. I mean, in our school system that I can see looking back. But I think for me, primary school, I think teaching all the language definitely necessary. Can't run from that, right? Bahasa Melayu, Mandarin, English. I think it should be taught to all. Right? Even if you want to teach Arabic, Jawi, or whatever, I'm fine with that. More languages, as long as it's not overbearing, taught properly in a practical sense that can be applied later, it's fine. Everyone should learn. I don't mind if my child learns Jawi, another additional language. What's the controversy over it? It's not like because I learn this, I'm going to be what religion or whatnot. No, what you learn Mandarin doesn't mean you're going to be a Chinese, right?
No. There's a constraint. If you learn Jawi, the time will be taken up to you have to sacrifice other things already, maybe English.
Okay.
So that is not to me is not necessary lah. Unless you say you want to prolong the school hours, then again is it necessary?
Okay, fair enough. But that's why there has to be more outcome based. Like, what is the relevance in today's society and tomorrow's society? What's going to be needed? Are we going to need Jawi? Personally, I don't think so. Are we going to know Arabic? Will it be more functional to learn Arabic? I think maybe Arabic or French or whatever. Arabic is fine because Arab is, Dubai and all that. It's going to be practical in the future. If I can speak Arabic as and Mandarin, I'm going to be very useful in the future workforce. That's what they have to think about instead of what is politically, culturally appeasing to our local population. What's going to help us win votes, right? That's the whole problem. Is politicized, I think, right? That's the contentious issue, lah.
Primary school, you don't. Primary school, I think basically are okay lah. The 3 languages, jenis kebangsaan, maths and science,
True.
道德教育.
Yeah. I think 3
What
is
else
already
do you all
quite.
learn?
That lor. And I learned 地方研究, some geography, I think. Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on
地方研究,
geography. I think
right.
that's good. That's interesting for me. I felt that that was quite relevant. Well done. Science, some basic sciences like photosynthesis. I remember those kind of stuff. I think that was pretty okay. Pretty okay.
And art,
Art.
the
Yeah, I
art
think that's pretty okay.
class and slight music class, we learned the recorder.
The recorder. I don't know why the recorder, but blow 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 recorder, and then I remember got minister come, everyone stand in front, practice blow the recorder. So proud of ourselves. I don't know what was that for, but it's okay.
There's one more thing. And I think one thing that was very popular at the time, I don't know whether it's more of a Chinese thing, that a lot of people went and learned Sing Suan and the what is it called? The calculus, the abacus.
Abacus, arithmetics. That was outside
Yeah.
of school.
I was outside of school. But
Yeah.
I think when it came to like pendidikan moral and all that, and I think one of the reason they did it in that way was because a lot of things, the primary concern is to have a way to have a measurable evaluating system. So it must be a way to that's always the primary focus. You need to have a fair way, an empirical method to give people marks in each exam. And I think that in our school, I don't know whether it's because it was Chinese school or just across all public schools, there's too much emphasis on having a very empirical method to judge everything. So I think at one point, again, sorry, this is not primary school, but in secondary school, because I was in a Buddhist school, in Porte. So there was actually one when like Muslim students went for their Muslim classes, the Buddhist students would have to go to the Buddhist class. And even for those classes, they need to grade us. Somehow they need to grade us. And I don't know whether it's a fear of if you don't grade them fairly, parents will come and complain and make a lot of noise. And then the monk, the female monk or the nun who was teaching us the class had to, because the school asked them to grade us in the way that they did, they say everyone had to go and pray and gui sanzi. And then she looked at us and grade us that way. And then she looked at how sim or how sincere you look in when you're praying and all that. And then she grade lah. Some people get A, some people get B and all that. I don't know how you're supposed to grade, but that's the problem. It's lack of emphasis on hearing and then listening, evaluating the students as to how they think. Oh yeah.
But now the system is automatically you go to secondary school, ma. Why do you need to grade some more? Okay, you need to grade maybe you want to go to prestige, not the grade A school, grade B school, I don't know lah. But then 道德教育 all that you don't have to grade, ma.
But you still have to give a mark in your report lah. So I don't know whether it's a fear of parents then complaining. And to answer your question, Mom, yeah, there was no need sort of that, like the civic and moral education was not part of like your UPSR to qualify to for secondary school and all that, but it was still part of the syllabus in primary school. And again, I'm not sure whether it's a Chinese school thing where every single subject still needs to have a mark, not just a grade, but a mark. And then that determines your ranking and in the class and your ranking in the entire batch.
Maybe I think, right, if I was the Minister of Education, I'm not trained in this, but we're all discussing this as lay people, right, and see what we can improve on, right? I think that this kind of vital, mandatory subjects, right, for example, moral, civic, or whatnot, whatever you want to put in, it has to just be a pass or fail thing. And it doesn't have to be in like a SPM, PMR, that kind of thing that will affect your grade to be a career. Maybe you just have to pass it in a school-based thing that everyone has to pass it before they can move on to the next year, that sort of thing. Maybe they should do it like that. I'm just thinking lah. And as long as you can move on to the next year, you have to pass all these things. That's it. Then the other things you want to compete on, whatever lah, the languages and math and science, you can compete on your own, in your own domain, but not this. Because you can't compete A, B, C, D, how moral you are. Because it just doesn't make sense, right? It's stupid, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So wow, I think we've gone quite a bit for this first section. We want to talk about preschool and primary school to sum it up, and we talk a lot about our childhood memories in preschool and primary school times. So I think let's take a break here, and then we'll continue on with part 2 in a bit.